Well, what a 24 hours. Bitcoin, crypto, and the whole market taking an absolute giant dump. But there was one coin, one savior, if you will, amongst the markets. One that stood up and said, no, I am not dumping 6%. I'm just going to dump about 1.5. And that is XRP. And there's a number of key reasons as to why XRP is outperforming the market, albeit still in a downtrend, but ultimately the best of a bad bunch. And I'm going to break down exactly why. And this, well, it might simply shock you as to what is going on, but it is insanely bullish for XRP. So go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Remember, every day we're breaking down the markets, giving you the latest news and keeping sure your portfolio is dialed in this bull run. So with that being said, let's get into it. Now, very interesting in the charts, it's red everywhere. No surprise, all the world's falling to pieces. Jobs are going. Russia and the US are going to start some sort of nuclear war. What the hell? XRP, though, standing up strong. And I think it's important to reference. I'm not going to get too deep into the charts because I don't think they're that important. It's down. It's on the way back up. That is good news. I want to talk a little bit about the SEC appeal. A lot of people keep asking me in my DMs, where are we at with this? What's going on with it? How much longer do we have to wait? And are we truly going to get an end to this case? What feels like forever? Well, the answer simply is who the hell knows at this stage what's going on with it? The SEC go pro crypto. They don't talk about Ripple. Paul Atkins talks about a new crypto task force. They don't talk about Ripple. It's almost like people have just forgot. We're like waiting at the dinner line and no one's serving us food. I think the reality here is Ripple have already done it. They've moved on. This is just an administrative task when it comes to the SEC. So I, for one, simply don't care about this anymore. We're not going to get anything changing. Loads of people are going to have you believe there's some crazy news that's going to come around the corner. It simply isn't, right? We're just going to move on and we'll wait to an official announcement if we even get one of those. And I guess this whole narrative that people still want to push that it's no, okay, let's move on, right? We're done. We're going to talk about something way more exciting and way more bullish. The fact that Ripple executives now are talking about RLUSD and how they're going to play out in terms of its financial use case is incredibly bullish. And more importantly, with Ripple Swell coming up, which we talked about yesterday, with all of those big speakers, well, it's a great time to really think about what it's all about. The fact that stablecoins being supported and XRP sustaining that market while at the same time looking after XRP does continue to be extremely positive. Ripple executive added more institutions are now turning to XRPL for financial use cases, with XRP's role in facilitating quick currency movement becoming more vital, particularly in volatile markets where stablecoins may not be ideal. This is actually a nod to keeping XRP as a real fundamental core of what Ripple's trying to do. Yes, you can have a stablecoin that basically is going to be pegged to the dollar. By the way, with the new Stablecoin Act 1-to-1, well, XRP can offer and facilitate both global transfers and monetary transfers, while at the same time offering a potential return for anyone involved with it. This is where you get into the debate of maybe institutions buy so much that retail can't get involved, whatever. I'm not quite sure in that place right now, but it is worthwhile thinking. And I think this is why Ripple and XRP, specifically this today, has held up pretty well. Institutions are still buying. And people will say, 2-bit, you're talking rubbish. Well, I'm going to show you why I think they are. And more importantly, I'm going to get into exactly what is happening and how we can understand what's going on with that. That's coming up very, very soon. The debate right now is, though, what is going to happen with the price of Ripple. With that dip, we actually came down as low as about 284 with a bounce to the upside, trending up, I think, which is a good news story. We'll see what plays out. What we do know, though, is get ready to add rocket fuel to the price of XRP. If you take the last 6 months as an example, we've had high interest rates, volatility of the market, tariffs, easing of, regulations, and Ripple's just continued to drive harder. In fact, it's one of the best performing altcoin assets in the top 100 so far this year, with nearly 50% gains since the start of the year. Well, the price prediction right now is, look, we're still trending in a very positive up market. And actually, when you start to look at what happened today with the Federal Reserve, and more importantly, that job data that came in, which was, by the way, insane. If you haven't got my video talking about earlier, you should definitely check that out. And if you didn't catch that, that means you're not subscribed or your notification bell's not turned on. So do that as well. But 90% likely we're going to get a September rate cut of 25 basis points. Here's where it gets insane. We could then get a further 25 basis points in October. And then guess what? Another rate cut in December. We could even see 100 basis points done by the end of the year. This would skyrocket the crypto market and, more importantly, XRP. Now, this is a conservative debate. Waller and many of the other Fed chairs that have come out and said, hey, we think we should have cut rates, are even pricing in an emergency 150 basis points cut. Well, that could absolutely signify one of the craziest moves in the market. Once again, this is why we are seeing people stacking their bags. Look at this. XRP transaction volume over time is accumulating. It is going up. You got the gray area, which is basically the narrative on the mean number, cumulative volume as well. The 2 weeks moving average is the orange line, and the daily volume is in that pink. Look at the spike we are seeing over the course of the last month. This is telling us that actually we are seeing significant adoption. We're seeing volume. And more importantly, people are buying XRP at a crazy rate. And the people that have the big money right now, bear in mind, retail aren't here, are institutions. You double down on the fact that XRP was one of the second best performing assets on transactional volume, trading volume, and overall trading volume as well on Coinbase. Coinbase's Q2 report here for 2025 that they sent out to their shareholders. Very interesting. Outperforming Ethereum, outperforming Solana in Q2 and looking incredibly optimistic as it sort of plays through. Ripple looking very good, particularly XRP. Now, you may think, well, hold on a minute, 2Bit. Why is this important? And why is the Coinbase narrative important? Well, every single ETF pretty much runs through Coinbase. The SEC links into Coinbase to facilitate a fair trade market when it comes to these ETFs as well. Ripple's trying to get an ETF, and BlackRock are also partnered with Coinbase. Do you see the pieces of the puzzle? Because it's all coming together to basically get to a very simple term. BlackRock are going to pump XRP to the freaking moon. And I talked about this yesterday, while at the same time, once BlackRock do that, everyone else is going to want a piece of the puzzle. I think this is where it gets all pretty exciting and all pretty crazy. So if you are not bullish enough on XRP, I kind of don't know what to tell you right now. Yes, the market's taken a dip. It's painful. But XRP, well, performed better than most, held up better than most, and in my opinion, is more bullish than most. So I'm locked in, lots more to come. Again, I'm breaking down some key things, especially understanding where and how these institutions are buying XRP. So stay tuned because I'm going to break that video very soon to you guys, and it's going to be crazy. So until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon. Keep your eyes on the prize and take care.